diving into the realm of luxury horology with a spotlight on the coveted Rolex Daytona Platinum 12656. Let me tell you, this timepiece isn't just a watch, it's a statement. Now let's kick things off with a little backstory. You see, this beauty is one of the shining stars among Rolex's new releases of 2023. But getting your hands on one? Well, that's been a bit like chasing a mythical unicorn through a maze. They come, they go, and if you blink, you might just miss them. Fear not, because today, we've snagged one for a proper deep dive. First things first, let's talk about the case. It's sleek, it's sophisticated, and it's as timeless as a black tie affair. If you're familiar with the iconic panda design, well, this case stays true to that heritage. But here's where it gets interesting. Unlike some of its predecessors, like the 116, the Daytona Platinum case stands apart from its stainless steel sibling. Yep, I did a double take too. Go ahead, compare them side by side. It's subtle, but trust me, it's there. Now onto the pièce de résistance, the dial. This ain't your granddaddy's Daytona, folks. No sir. This one comes adorned with the pièce de résistance baguette markers. It's a subtle upgrade, but oh so satisfying to the discerning eye. Let me tell you, when you finally cradle this beauty in your hands, it's like reuniting with an old friend. Sure, it's new, it's shiny, but it's got that familiar vibe that says, yeah, I've arrived. But wait, we can't forget about the star of the show, the case back. Oh, you better believe we're gonna give that some love. We're talking close-ups. We're talking swoon-worthy shots that'll make your heart skip a beat. Because when you're dealing with a timepiece of this caliber, every angle counts. Now let's address the elephant in the room. Some purists might argue, but is it really that different from its predecessors? To them I say, hell yeah it is. Sure, at first glance it might seem like just another Daytona. But dive a little deeper and you'll see the subtle nuances that set this bad boy apart from the pack. And that brings me to my final point, the feeling. You know that gut instinct you get when you lay eyes on something truly special? Well, my friends, that's exactly what you'll experience with the Rolex Daytona Platinum 12656. It's not just a watch, it's a revelation. So if you've been on the fence, debating whether to pull the trigger, let me save you the trouble. Do it. Trust me, you won't regret it. Now let's talk about the dial. But hold on to your hats because we're not just dealing with any old dial here. Nope, this one's got a bit of a twist. A brown twist to be exact. At first glance, you might do a double take. Is it the lighting? Is it your eyes playing tricks on you? Nah, it's that honey-toned brown giving the dial a whole new vibe. I know what you're thinking. Brown and ice blue? Sounds like a mismatch made in horological hell. But trust me on this one, folks. When you see it on your wrist, it's like magic. Now let's talk about the dial lineup. In the previous version, we had two distinct dials, the baguette-free brown beauty and the ice blue dazzler adorned with those sparkling baguette markers. It was like having two different personalities in one watch. And you know what? I kinda like that. It added a bit of variety, a bit of spice to the mix. But with this new iteration, they've gone for a more unified look. Sure, they've added those diamond markers, which don't get me wrong, I'm all for. But part of me misses the old days when you had to choose between brown or bling. Don't get me wrong though, I'm not here to rain on Rolex's parade. Far from it. I mean, just look at that ice blue dial paired with that platinum bezel. It's a match made in watch heaven. And those baguette markers? Pure class, pure luxury. So yeah, while I might wax nostalgic for the days of old, there's no denying that this new Daytona is a stunner in its own right. Now don't get me wrong, the new baguette dial is a sight to behold. It's sleek, it's stylish, and it's got that touch of class that Rolex is known for. But if you ask me, I've got a soft spot for the previous version. Call me old-fashioned, but there's just something about the classic brown dial that gets me every time. Maybe it's the nostalgia, maybe it's the contrast with the ice blue. Either way, it's a winner in my book. Now, let's talk bling. One thing I love about both the old and the new models is how Rolex has nailed the diamond markers. I mean, seriously, unless you're up close and personal with this watch, you'd never even know they were diamonds. It's like stealth wealth, baby. None of that flashy, in-your-face bling here, just pure, understated elegance. Now, if I had to pick between the two generations, I gotta say, I'm team baguette dial all the way. There's just something about those sleek markers that gets me every time. But hey, each to their own, right? Now let's talk design. This bad boy may look simple at first glance, but don't let that fool you. It's got that classic Daytona vibe with a modern twist. I'm talking about the bezel, folks. It's got that metal ring around it that just screams vintage cool. And not to mention, it narrows down the size of the bezel, giving it that sleek, streamlined look. The design? Now, one thing that caught my eye right away is the reduction of ceramic elements, and you know what? I'm digging it. It gives the watch a cleaner, more streamlined look that's just oh so satisfying. And can we talk about those slimmed-down borders around the subdials? It's like Rolex took a page out of Zenith's book, and I'm here for it. Now, if you caught my Panda review, you know I'm all about keeping the original Daytona DNA intact. And let me tell you, Rolex nailed it with this one. At first you might think, it's just another Daytona. But when you see it in the flesh, it's like a breath of fresh air. It's the perfect balance of tradition and innovation, and Rolex executed it flawlessly. But here's where things get really interesting. The movement. For years, Rolex has been notoriously secretive about their movements. I mean, come on, who can blame them? They've got a reputation to uphold. But finally, they've loosened up a bit and given us a clear case back. And let me tell you, it's a game changer. Seeing that intricate machinery in action is like watching a symphony in motion. I know what some of you are thinking, but is it waterproof? Trust me, I hear you. Anytime you introduce a sapphire crystal case back, there's going to be some skepticism. But let's be real here, folks. This is a Daytona we're talking about. It's not meant for deep-sea diving adventures. So as far as I'm concerned, the clear case back is a welcome addition. Now let's address the elephant in the room, the movement itself. Sure, it might not have that flashy, over-the-top look that some other brands are known for. You know what? Sometimes less is more. Rolex has never been one to show off, and that's part of what makes them so damn cool. So while it might not be the flashiest movement on the block, it's got that signature Rolex reliability that we all know and love. There's just something about a Rolex movement that screams reliability and beauty. You know you're getting top-notch craftsmanship with every tick of the second hand. And let's not forget about the value factor. A Rolex is a Rolex, plain and simple. So being able to finally see that movement through the clear case back, it's like peeking behind the curtain of horological perfection. But here's where things get interesting. The rotor. Rolex decided to switch things up with the new 4131 caliber, opting for a gold skeletonized rotor instead of the traditional steel. Now don't get me wrong, I'm all for a bit of bling, but part of me can't help but feel like they missed an opportunity to really elevate the look of the movement. I mean, imagine if they'd gone all out with jeweled accents and intricate detailing. It would have been like stepping onto the field at the Super Bowl of watchmaking. But hey, let's not dwell on what could have been, because when it comes to wearing this bad boy on your wrist, let me tell you, you feel it. I'm talking about that undeniable presence that only a Platinum Daytona can deliver. This thing is heavy, folks, and I'm not just talking metaphorically. Strap this baby on and you'll know it's there every step of the way. Now some of you might be thinking, but isn't that a bit too much weight? Well, let me tell you, there's beauty in that heft. It's a reminder that you're wearing something truly special. And speaking of special, let's talk about the Platinum Shine. Unlike white gold, which can sometimes have a slightly off-white hue, Platinum is like the purest form of luxury. It's bright, it's shiny, and it's guaranteed to turn heads wherever you go. Plus, let's not forget about the diamond dial, because who doesn't love a bit of sparkle? Now I know what you're thinking, how much does all this luxury cost? Well, strap yourselves in, because we're talking big bucks here. Retail on a watch like this is around $75,000, give or take a few thousand. But hey, when you're dealing with a timepiece of this caliber, can you really put a price on perfection? Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments.